What's going on, Facebook? It is Tuesday morning and we are ready. Facebook, we got a great meeting today, so go find my people and drop them on in here. Larry Mullinex, nice to see you. What's up, Nick? Nice to see you, buddy. Hope everybody's doing well. Kyle, we're having a kind of an overcast day here, but we got a great meeting. Our meeting will not be overcast. It's going to be in some sales process today. So we got some meat and potatoes for you. Nice to see you, Tom Thatcher. Kyle, hope everybody's doing well today. I have a great meeting today, but first of all, I want to talk about tonight's show. You got to come see me and Jonathan Dawson. I hope everybody knows Jonathan Dawson. He's a great trainer. He's all over Facebook. He has a company called Psychology. It's the psychology of sales. And I love it, actually, because relationships and sales is all about psychology and people's heads and what people are thinking. So we're going to sit down tonight. We're going to find out about his past, what led him from sales into training, how he came up with the name Psychology, what he thinks is the biggest problem in dealerships today, how he would change it if he was a GM. All kinds of great questions. We're going to go over for an hour and talk to him about this. So please stop in here tonight. It's going to be a great show. We've had some great guests on here so far, and Jonathan is going to be an amazing guest. He's going to provide a lot of value tonight. You salesmen out there, this is going to be meat and potatoes. This is going to be good stuff. And anyways, I look forward to seeing you guys tonight. Remember, tonight, 5:30, Sales Hustlers Spotlight. So what do we have a meeting for today? Well, the meeting today, I wanted to have a meat and potatoes. I wanted to have something with some bite to it. I wanted to have something that might bring you a car deal today. Do you guys work your service drive? You know, I want you to understand, the service drive is the untapped resource at your dealership. It is probably the number one underutilized, but most important part of your dealership. These people already like you. They like your product. They're using your service drive for a reason. But sometimes we don't utilize them properly. We do not as salespeople. Some dealerships do. Some dealerships have somebody automatically planted back there. Some dealerships have salesmen that frequent back there. Some salesmen, that's all they do. But a lot of dealerships are not. A lot of dealerships are not using their service department to its full potential. And I wanted to go over today, there's right and wrong. There's right and wrong ways to approach customers that are in your service drive. I want you to understand that. Just because you greet somebody or just because you talk to somebody in service, maybe you're not handling them correctly. That's why that's not turning into a car deal. You know, people ask me all the time, Shawn, what would you do in service? What do I say to them? How do I chat them up? How do I approach a prospective person in service? Well, I broke down 6 ways that I do it. Now remember, I'm not a sales guru. I'm not a teacher. Okay? I'm not somebody that's paid to do this, but I'm a guy that's on the front line just like you, and I'm using these 6 steps. I use them daily for my customers. You want to sell a car today in service? I'm going to try to show you the way I do it. If you like it, great. If you feel like it can help you, implement it a little bit in your dealership today. All right? So Shawn Hayes here, your car guy, Hyundai of St Augustine. Are you working your service drive properly? It is the untapped resource at your dealership. It is the goldmine of gold mines. But are you working it properly? Do you approach customers correctly? Do you convert them into car deals that day? Well, I'm going to give you my 6 steps on what I do in service and how I convert more customers from service to sales. Number 1, I don't know if your dealership is set up this way. Mine is. My CRM alerts me to who is coming in. Now, a lot of times, most CRMs, there is an administrator at your dealership, and they can either turn that setting on or turn that setting off. At my dealership, my managers believe in turning that on so the salesperson can see who's coming in daily. So in the morning when I come in or the night before, they can set it up whatever way's better for you. You can see exactly who's going to come in into your service drive. And it's usually distributed on who the salesperson is on the account. So I can come in the morning and I see Mary and Bill are going to come in with their 14 Sonata today. All right. That's helpful. I see they're going to be here at 1 o'clock. Now, here's why you need to use this tool. I take that name and then I go into the sold account. I see in the sold account, it has a lot of information. At least at our dealership, it does. Okay? If it doesn't apply to you, then I'm sorry. But I'm using in the general, the CRMs hold a lot of useful information. In my dealership, I can see when they bought their car, what their payment is, what their interest rate was, okay? What date they bought it, what their payment is. Everything I want to know is going to be in that CRM. So I can see, using my knowledge in the industry, a rough estimate if they're in a good position to get out of that car. So am I going to target them? Well, of course. Why would I want to target somebody that's 15 grand upside down? Okay, I don't. I want to target somebody that might be a hot prospect to buy, correct? All right, so I've looked in the CRM. I see they're in a 14 Sonata. They pay about $375 a month. They put 3 grand down when they bought it. All right, and they've been in the car 4.5 years. Do you think that sounds like a good person to target? I do. All right, so I'm going to make sure I write Mary and Bill are going to come in at 1 o'clock today. Boom. All right, where do you think I'm going to be at 1 o'clock today if I don't have an appointment already? Exactly. All right, so remember, go to your CRM. Look it up in the morning, see who's coming in, and then go into the deal recap. At least in Dealer Socket we have it, a deal recap screen to find out where they're at in their position. Now, number 2, what do I do with that information? Well, when they come in, I want to create non-threatening conversations. What do I mean about that? What do I mean by that? Non-threatening conversations. Well, I don't want to talk about trade. I don't want to talk about payments. I don't want to talk about none of that nonsense. I want to talk about them. I want to build my relationships. Remember, I tell you, sales is not sales. Sales is building relationships. So I'm going to go back and, as I call it, chat them up. Well, chat them up. Hey, Bill, how you doing? How's Nancy? I see she's not with you today. Great, great, awesome. How's the car been? Everything good? Hey, I know you go up to Ohio every 6 months. Did you just get back? Blah, 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 blah. You see what I'm doing? I'm talking about everything else but the car deal. Why do I want to do that? Well, as soon as you start talking money, as soon as you start talking payment, as soon as you start talking trade, that customer tunes you out. Boom. I see it in their face. I see other people do it. And as soon as they start talking money, trade, you become a salesman again. Stop becoming a salesman. You want to become a friend, a relationship. You've built a relationship with them, right? Just talk to them about normal stuff. As soon as salesmen start being salesy, customers sniff it out and they tune it out. I'm telling you. So I just chat them up. I just talk about everything else but the car deal. I talk about everything else in their world except the car deal. I see them warming up. I'm getting coffee with them. I see them, you know, their stance is open to me. Okay? That means they're welcoming me, our conversation. Things like this. I pay attention to little things like that. Now remember, create non-threatening conversations. Don't talk about business. Talk about relationships. Now, number 3, I'm looking for opportunities to talk about things they don't like in their current car. All right, this is key. See, remember I just told you the time before, I'm not talking payments or trade, right? I'm talking relationships, but I look for them to open the door. Never open the door yourself. Don't. You're only going to put yourself in a salesman. I let them open the door. And when I see that door open, I stick my foot in and I walk through the crack. All right? And how do I do that? Well, I'm going to talk about the pains they have in their current car. I know they do. This is key, that you know your deficiencies in your product. This is where it comes in good, to know your product. Know the problem previous customers have had with their model. Okay, I'll take that 14 Sonata. All right, I know the 14 Sonatas, all the customers I've sold them to, the 2 complaints I've ever had are the passenger seat sits too low. Okay, for some reason they built the dash up too high and they gave no way for that passenger seat to raise. So a lot of your shorter ladies, your shorter men, whoever rode passenger couldn't see over the dashboard. That was a huge concern. Okay, I knew that, right? So I know that's a deficiency in my product. And I know Hyundai has addressed that. Don't say that right out front though. Okay? And then the other thing was the cars were a little loud inside, the noise dampening. So they fix both of those things. I know that. I know that's the deficiency in the product they're in. I don't want to lead with that. I let the customer lead with that. Do you get what I'm saying? So I look for the opportunity. He probably will say something like, after we've been talking for a while, you know what, Shawn, I absolutely love that car. The only thing I don't like about it, and I'm like, well, I know what you're about to say, but I don't say it. I wait for them to say it, is the seat sits a little too low for my wife. Ding. Yeah, Bill, I've heard that from time to time. In fact, it's probably the #1 problem customers have had with that car. The great thing about it is Hyundai addressed that problem. They heard so many complaints about it that they fixed it. Now your wife can sit up as high as she wants. She can see over the dashboard. It's a problem solved. If you could have one more problem that you would like fixed, what would that be? And I let them tell me, and then ding, great. That's so funny you said that, because both of the things that you had problems with were two of the things that Hyundai focused on the new brand. That's awesome. Cool, man. I'll take that. I'll write that down, and I'll remember it. So basically, I chatted them up. I looked for the opportunity, okay? And then I let it build. I let it breathe. Let things breathe. Do not jump on them. When you jump on them, you become a salesman again, okay? But what would a friend do? A friend wouldn't jump on it. A friend would let the person talk. They would say, yeah, that sucks. Yeah, but I know this. I know Hyundai's fixed it, so I'm going to later attack this problem, but not right now. All right? So remember, #1, I looked in the CRM, I targeted Bill, right? #2, I created non-threatening conversation with Bill over coffee, over just talking about where he's back from Ohio and how he's doing, how's his kids, blah, 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 all right? #3, I looked for the opportunity, all right, to talk about the new features that will benefit him. I didn't talk about payments yet. I didn't talk about trade numbers. I didn't talk about none of that yet, because you don't want to become salesy, all right? So we know the problems he's having, right? I'm building it up. I'm letting it build. I'm letting it grow. I'm letting him open the door, and I'm walking through it. Now, what do? #4, I leave the conversation at the peak interest. You're like, what? Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you pounce right then? No. If you were really thirsty and I gave you a little sip of water, just a little sip, okay? You would want more water, right? You would want more water. If I gave you that whole bottle of water, you're good. You don't need me no more, correct? So I leave the conversation at its peak with wanting more. Now, what do? Well, they're standing back there, right? I say, excuse me, Bill, I'll be right back, right? I just say, kind of in the fever of everything, of what he's saying, I've learned everything. I say, give me a second, Bill, I'll be right back. I got to go handle something. I walk outside and I grab the car that I think would benefit him the most. I already know his problems. I know he likes the car. I know he likes the dealership. I know he likes the car that he has. He just wishes the two things would be changed, right? So I go get the car. I pull it up front. I go back in service. Said, Bill, can I talk to you real quick? Come here. Boom, I pull him outside. Now, what do I do now? Remember, I just let the conversation at its peak, so he still has more to give me, right? So I walk him outside and I show him the improvements and the benefits for his life. Yes. I didn't pitch the car inside. I didn't tell him all about it. I didn't give him everything. I didn't quench his thirst with the whole bottle of water. I let him tell me. I quenched it with just a sip. I went out and got it. Now I'm going to engulf him in the full drink. I'm going to show him that power seat going up and down. See, if I would have told him about the power seat going up and down, it doesn't have the same effect as me walking out and showing him, having him sit in it. Look at this, okay, where his head goes up to the ceiling, all right? They also put 17% more sound damping in this car. Why did they do that, Bill? Because they heard you say it's too loud inside from the tires. Pretty awesome. Now, while you're here, let me show you some of the enhancements they've had since you bought a car. The blind spot detection system. Let me explain to you how that is valuable to your life. The car will stop itself if it senses a pedestrian walking in front of them. How will that benefit your life? So I go through the added features. Remember, I focused on the problems he had, and then I wanted to put the icing on the cake, which is the added features and the added benefits to his life, right? This is vital. This is vital, guys. It is not vital to tell him about everything. It is vital to bring him outside and show him. Now, what's the last thing you need to do? Well, we got plenty of time, right? We have a captive audience. He's not going anywhere. He's not saying, hey, I got to go, because his car's in service. So I got a captive audience. I can do a thorough job. I can drive that car, and I got plenty of time to present numbers to him. All right? I think this is really, really important. I hope all these things help you. All right? I hope you see value in them and they can bring you some car deals in real life situations. But guys, I want you to understand, this is very, very important. All right? Very, very important to not attack customers in service. Not go back and say, who wants to trade your car in? Not talk about payments. Not talk about all that stuff. You want to create relationships. You want to build the relationships. Okay? You want to look for the opportunity. All right? Just wet the whistle a little bit. Go pull the car up and then show the improvements and how they benefit their life. Guys, I hope this gives you real life benefits. Shawn Hayes here, your car guy, Hyundai of St. Augustine. I make car buying easy.